Hello, everybody, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School, your one-stop shop for everything Atheist Sunday and school. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we're covering Jeremiah chapters 50 through 52 with Jim Majors.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
That's impressive.
Kind of intense. I experience it frequently, but yeah.
We've gotten quite good at this, although we mess up sometimes, but, we're still quite good. Still quite good.
Better than we could have been.
That's true.
That one was almost an A. I'd give it an A minus.
I remember when we were first starting to do that kind of thing, it would be like we just kind of added stuff on randomly to it, like just one at a time. Like Ruben would go like, your one-stop shop for everything atheist, and then I'd say Sunday, and then like Chris would say school, and it would just be broken up.
It was just
horribly.
jarred before.
But now it's like a thing that we do.
We could continue adding on to it.
Is it done?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages.
Taking too long. That's the thing. Then it takes way too long. It's almost at the point where it can't evolve anymore without being atrociously in your face.
It could probably evolve some more.
Yeah.
Watch it evolve some more.
Do our opening paragraphs.
Good stuff. But you know what else is an opening paragraph? Or I should say a closing paragraph. These chapters of Jeremiah, which are not a paragraph, but they certainly close the book of Jeremiah.
Yeah, we've been in here for a while.
It's quite a long book.
Is it the longest?
I think so.
By word count.
Yeah.
Not by page count.
I
Psalms
think that would
is
vary.
longer in this Bible.
Yeah. But either way, it's a very long book. So we are now finally finishing it, and we have Jim here. Jim has been a friend of the channel for a very long time.
Yep, like the Friends of God, he's friends of the channel.
Ah, yeah, that's a good reference right there. So, Jim, you've been doing a lot of stuff recently. You've been a very busy boy with your mustache and everything.
Quick, tell us about it.
Just still closing up, just some revisions on my dissertation for my PhD. I've been working really hard on that, been doing a lot of debates recently. And just really that's about it. Just a lot more research, a lot more writing, a lot more editing. More just time on the keyboard, really.
Well, this PhD of yours, what is it in?
It is in Hebrew Bible or Old Testament studies. I'm focusing on Danielic literature.
Well, there you go.
Well,
he knows a thing or two.
In lieu of your accomplishments, I'm awarding you with the Atheist Sunday School unofficial honorary PhD in atheology.
That's incredible.
Yes.
I didn't know we had that yet.
Well, I mean, you don't have to do anything to have an unofficial, unaccredited honorary PhD.
That's about as non-direct as you can get.
Yep. But what was that, Dr. Ken?
Wait, are you talking about Kent Hovind?
Yeah, Kent Hovind.
Yeah, and his diploma mill degree.
I'm not sure if I'm honored or not anymore. I'm confused.
That's better.
Yes, but you'll have to let us know when you finish it so we can introduce you as Dr. Jim Majors.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be good. Dr. Jim. All right.
And
Dr.
I'll be
Jim.
coming to you for all of my medical advice.
Yeah,
No.
Don't do that.
It's gonna be like
dirt in it.
what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to take a bird and you're gonna have to sacrifice it.
Right. Let's see, what you're just gonna get a serpent, right? And get you a rod, and you're just gonna put it on the rod, okay? And
Classic.
Wonderful. Well, hey, I have the King James Version of the Bible.
I have the English Standard Version of the Bible.
Jim, what version are you using?
I have the NRSV version.
Excellent. We also have the Hebrew Bible, a translation with commentary by Robert Alter.
which Jim wanted to use, and we said he could.
But he's not going
fine.
to.
I'm over it.
We also have Erdman's commentary on the Bible.
And Billie Holiday's Hermenia commentary.
Yeah, pretty much. Billie Holiday's commentary on Jeremiah. We also have the Holy Scriptures according to some Jews and the New King James Version.
We also have the Oxford Companion to the Bible.
And
it's never been useful.
It's never been useful, but it's there.
Wait, I think we used it like twice.
Historically, we got 5 times.
5 times in
out of
185
out of
episodes
of these attempts to use this thing.
Well, the thing is, we've used it. We've tried to use it, but it's only been useful like once, maybe twice.
I swear it was useful 5 times by now. No, it's added up.
It very often doesn't have any information that we need.
You guys forget there's a small cluster where it was useful.
Yeah, when we didn't have any other books on this table, we might have used it a little more.
Yeah, it's totally lost its utility.
Yeah. But anyways, Lawrence, why don't you tell us about these last chapters, or at least chapter 50? It's pretty long. Is this the longest chapter? Oh, no, the next chapter is even longer.
They're all quite long. Yeah. Not excited for this. I'm going to have to be drinking a lot of water.
Right. But our viewers should be excited, very excited viewers.
You should be. So, this is from Holiday's commentary. So this, he covers these the next 2 chapters. So 50 and 51, he includes together. Man,
Erdman's also includes them in one section where they name it as the Yahwistic beast. Babylon falls.
I mean, fair enough. So these verses represent the longest unified sequence of material in the book. So crazy long. And yeah, as you
gotta blow your nose.
Yeah, I gotta blow my nose. I'll be back. Can you read this?
Yes, I can. Preliminary observations. These 104 verses represent, except for chapters 37 through 44, which total 166 verses, the longest unified sequence of material in the book. But whereas chapters 37 through 44 are a sequential narrative, the present chapters offer what appears to be utterance after utterance over Babylon. It is clear that whatever original stratum of material lies here has been supplemented and expanded by later hands. For example, in chapter 50, verses 17b through 18 are hardly poetry, and the matching of Assyria with Babylon is distracting and surely secondary. Yet one hardly knows where to begin in isolating that original stratum. What is one looking for? And does it manifest any structure? Or is it simply one thing after another? These chapters have been treated in a variety of ways by commentators. Earlier commentators, Doom, Geisebrecht, Cornell, regarded the sequence as a single oracle, this in spite of repetitions of themes and phraseology. Condamine set forth 3 full poems, 52 through 20, 50, 21 through 46, and 51, 1 through 37, and a 4th, 51, 38 through 58, that is in some disorder. And they go on and on about different commentators having different ideas about the structure of these chapters.
And that is, of course, often expected.
Indeed. Now, Erdman's says in chapters 46 through 49, Babylon is everywhere assumed, explicitly named at 46, 2, 13, 26, 49, 28, 30, that to be Yahweh's agent in the persecution of the war, but at times, this concrete agency is backgrounded to portray Yahweh unleashing a personified sword on the world. And when it's finally Beast Babylon's turn, chapters 50 through 51. The metaphorical texture of Yahweh's war is simply applied to it. Harvest, incurable wound, cosmic powers, hunt, predation, cup of the wine of divine wrath, and sword. There is, however, an explicit symbolic elevation associated with the recoil of God's war on Babylon's head. Allusions to a mythopoetic creation chaos struggle familiar in ancient Near Eastern mythic traditions increase in strength. See Marduk's battle with Tiamat in Enema Elish, or Baal's battle with Yam and Mot in the Ugaritic mythological text. For Beast Babylon is the political personification of a dragon in the sea, whose primordial waters must be dried up, and who must be forced to disgorge all that she has swallowed. As with Baal, Yahweh has wielded Babylon as a great war club in his savage struggle for the cosmic supremacy against the threatening chaos powers of the nations. But now, ironically, the waters of chaos come upon Babylon from the north, and it's all broken up with like parentheses and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like skipping between parts of a paragraph.
So there's this interesting thing about Holiday's commentary, and it's that he talks about the authenticity of the separate sections within these few chapters. So, and he goes into quite a lot of detail. So if we want to, see his opinion on whether or not something is authentic, we can just go to this, which is kind of cool, I think.
All right.
Of course, it is just his opinion. He even notes that other scholars disagree with certain things. And then we always have Jim's opinion as well.
Indeed.
Jim?
And yeah, additionally, we have an evaluation of this section, which I think we'll deliver after we finish chapter 51, some material from here in Erdman's. But otherwise, Erdman's is going to be useless. So
Sweet.
Yeah. All right, well, why don't I hop into chapter 50 then in the King James Version.
Sounds good.
Chapter 50. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. That's a little different than the usual formula that we have.
Little bit, I would say.
It's very close. Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish, and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken up in pieces, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
So the I guess the second verse really, but there are two names for the patron deity of Babylonia. The latter also appears as Marduk. So yeah, Merodach and Bel.
But Bel is the title, and Merodach's the name.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yes, the president, Joe Biden.
Wow.
What?
Oh, we're getting a notice to restart the computer. We're not.
How about
we're not going to do that.
How about you don't click that one?
How about you have him remind you later?
Okay.
There we go. Anyways,
And
Go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say, and something else that I really enjoy pointing out is when it's talking about her idols. It's pretty much literally being said her shitty idols, or her dungy gods.
Yeah, her foul things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm starting to think that the English translations of the Bible are a little more mature than the original presentation.
Yeah. Right. it's like if a college grad student got hold of their first grade book report and just redid it.
Yeah. Beautiful. In those days, we get an in those days. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
And in that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their God. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people hath been lost sheep. They're shepherds. Oh.
I got a thing for you. So Holiday notes that the phrase everlasting covenant stands in contrast to the implication of 31 through 34. One can only conclude that this unit is to be dated appreciably earlier than 31 through 34. On the other hand, in the New Covenant passage, Yahweh promises that he will remember their sin no more, and in this respect, remember is analogous to not be forgotten here. And then there's some Hebrew that I can't do anything about.
Yeah. Man, this bit in Eerdmans is brutal.
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But anyways, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Well, it doesn't help that he literally organized them being kicked out of their resting place.
Yeah, that doesn't help. You'd think he would have anticipated that.
Yeah. No. I guess God isn't very good at predicting the future, which is exactly the thing that he levies against the other gods
or the other prophets.
Yeah. No, I think it was in Psalms, he talks about how the gods are powerless because they can't predict the future, right? It's in we covered something that.
Yeah, there is there. I think there was. I forget what book it was in. I don't think it was Psalms, but there was maybe it was Isaiah.
Maybe yeah, it was right before this.
Because God was saying like you're kind of works of hands kind of thing. There's plenty of polemics against their gods, but what they're talking about there is their idols
and divination.
Yeah, and how because they're They can't. They have eyes but don't see. They have ears but don't hear. Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because the belief for most of them was that the God spirit would possess whatever the idol was for a period of time. For transactions, whatever, for transmitting an image or a prophecy or whatever. But it wasn't a God in and of itself.
Oof. Well, right. Because that one is very obviously created by the hands of man. So it's like, why would they ever believe that is a God in the first place? But yeah, it's a way to channel a God.
Yeah, exactly.
All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For, lo, not the Hebrew lo, which means no, but the English lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. That's way better than the mighty men. The mighty expert men.
What verse is that? Sorry.
That's verse 9. Like
I'm sensing a spin-off of
Run for
X-Men.
the hills, hide yourself. It's not just the expert man anymore.
So, for I am about to rouse and bring up against Babylonia an assembly of great nations from the land of the north, and they shall array against her. From there she shall be captured. His arrows like those of death-dealing warrior. He does not turn back empty.
Wow, I think Mighty Expert Man is better than Death-Dealing Warrior. But hey, that's
We could have them fight each other.
the personal taste.
The
thing.
Hebrew mashkil, I'm probably butchering that, unusual in this conjugation, literally means causing bereavement. Some Hebrew manuscripts and 3 ancient versions read maskil cunning, spelled a little bit differently there.
Yeah, it's like a warrior of skill.
All right. Well, Mighty Expert Man is it's a bit ridiculous. We should do a t-shirt.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mighty Expert Man.
Yeah, we could do
Mighty
like
Expert Man. I mean, it gets the message across.
yeah, we could do like a Superman logo t-shirt for Mighty Expert
Mighty. Yeah,
Man.
that's true. That's true. Okay, I'll have to hit up our t-shirt person for that.
Yes, our graphic designer.
Mighty Expert Man.
I like that actually.
Superman, because Mighty Expert Man couldn't fit on a t-shirt.
And Chaldea. Ooh, I don't think we've had it referred to as Chaldea.
In a while.
Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellows as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold!
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 Behold.
See, it's really nice when we don't have to tell the guest that they have to behold.
Yeah. I think this is a very early Yo Mama joke. The hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues.
Yeah, so your mother is Babylon personified.
Wow.
Yeah. For be greatly ashamed, compare 2011. The designation last of the nations for Babylon is the opposite of first of the nations in Amos 6:1. And then he goes into some, grammar, some vocabulary, plenty of references there to other books.
You can pretty much generally accept that anytime that you see something, seeing a city personified like as your mother, it's talking about the whatever city they inhabit,
The homeland, the fatherland, the motherland.
So you're right. So your mother was where you were from.
Your mom.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
your mom's so big. It's like, yeah, she is.
It's a country.
She's got 2 zip codes, man.
Okay. Put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. She's literally doing exactly what he wanted.
That, yeah. Like, he is the one who was saying, like, so these people have been sinning. They've been doing a horrible job. So in retribution of that, I'm going to send the Babylonians to do my task.
Yep, but now the Babylonians are being called sinners.
Hey, it's all part of God's plan. It's necessary for Jesus' second coming. So
Okay, right.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is where the Christians or the Catholics even get their original sin idea from, because
It's not.
he just calls everyone sinners.
It's not
So
from there. I was just reading a book that was talking about original sin, and that's not where it's from. It's from somewhere else.
yeah, Catholicism has so much stuff that isn't in the Bible at all. It's it's kind of
Christianity in general
mind-boggling.
does.
Yeah.
I mean, most Christians. I feel comfortable saying over 90% of Christians are Trinitarian.
Yeah. Ugh.
Probs.
So she hath sinned against the Lord. Shout against her round about. Ooh, like Jericho. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done. Do unto her. Very much like Jericho.
Yeah, a lot like it, actually.
Yeah. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones.
So for verse 16, that's the one, cut off the sower, that one. So he compares that to verse 46:16. So this verse offers the second occurrence of a puzzling phrase that the Masoretic transmits as something else in Hebrew. I don't know. I wish I could read this. I can't.
What does it say?
So translations beginning with the versions have translated both occurrences identically.
Mipnei charav.
Say it into the mic.
Yeah.
He's giving it a shot. Landon coming in with the $24.99.
Thank you, Landon. That's going towards our 666 donation drive. Once we hit $666, we will be buying a thetan meter. We'll be seeing who the most clear is, and we'll be telling you all about Scientology. It says Mipnei charav hayona. So
what's that mean, Jim? No, I don't know. Maybe he hasn't.
Where's the what verse is it?
16.
Yeah, 50:16.
I don't know if you have a thing up for that, or I don't know.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Either way, but he's comparing it to verse 46:16. So the two passages evidently have a setting in the last part of Jeremiah's career. Therefore, in interpretation, both passages have to be examined together. As with 46:16, I assume that the last two words of the expression form a construct phrase. I further propose that the two occurrences... Nice mumbling, I love it. That the two occurrences, offer variant vocalizations. In the last part of 46:16, the speakers are underlings in the Egyptian army, perhaps mercenaries fighting in Judah. The appeal to flee in that passage is to abandon the ranks of the army. Here, by contrast, the speakers are subject peoples in Babylon. The immediate context is not combat, but lack of food. I propose then that the word sword is correct in 46:16, but that the word is to be vocalized.
I'm sorry, Herib.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we on the 666 goal?
Herib.
We've got to be somewhere around 300 now.
Yeah, we're around 300. I would say definitely.
Yeah, we got to count that out.
Yeah, we do. I have like a bunch of things up here.
Yeah.
We're almost, if not halfway. Jim?
The Hayona Harib is the oppressing sword. That's I can see how that can be interpreted as being an underling.
Yeah, and then he goes on to say that the word that he thinks that the word sword is to be vocalized differently as the word that means sword. He says he proposes that it should be vocalized in a way that it means devastation or drought.
Yeah.
In 46:16, the oppressing power is evidently Rahab. If the text is correctly amended, construed as masculine. The participle there must therefore be. I don't even know what that is either. Here, by contrast, the oppressor is Babylon, construed as female. The participle here must therefore be. It looks like it's the same word, the same letters, but a different form.
I'm gonna point out that
or it's vocalized a little bit differently.
I'm going to point out that this...
the oppressing sword are both feminine singular.
So in both the verses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for the $50 donation.
That's incredible.
Paris 0650.
Thank you. That is very much appreciated.
Very much so. That is going towards our 666 drive, where we'll be taking down Scientology. So I'm going to point out that in verse 16 here, there are multiple war crimes.
You had to point out that there were war crimes?
Oh, yeah, war crimes.
More than one?
The whole book is full of war crimes.
It has a lot of them. Let's be honest here.
For one thing, it's a war crime to destroy food sources. And for another thing, it's a war crime to specifically target civilians.
Right.
So yeah, multiple war crimes in one verse.
Man, isn't that weird that like those standards for war and crime weren't around back then?
Have changed.
Yeah, right. Please read our policies as they have changed recently.
Yeah, but this is Judeo-Christian morality,
See, I wouldn't even. The thing is, you could say that, but then you could also like point out a whole bunch of verses. Especially, more Jesus-y stuff. That's like, no, not that.
Oh, yeah? Jesus never committed any war crimes?
Depends on how you want to see it.
Okay.
Depends on if you're a Trinitarian or not.
Yeah, no, if you're a Trinitarian, Jesus committed a lot of war crimes.
Sure.
The Romans obviously, thought otherwise.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold!
Behold!
I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. What's he referring to?
So that was verse
18.
18, okay.
Or he says he punished the king of Assyria. Is that a reference to a specific historic event?
Well, it would be to the Assyrian invasion, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be where I'd go with that. There's not really much of a commentary on that. So let's see, verses 50, 17b through 18. The lion is a similar metaphor for both Assyria, that's in Isaiah, and Babylon. So that a later midrash on the lions becomes plausible. That's interesting.
Well, you got to wonder if I think it was Samson who
he had the lion that he
so you got to wonder when that was written and if that metaphor was being kept in mind while they were writing that story, because then you can interpret that as a polemic against Assyria and Babylon.
Well, you can see in verse 10, where you see a mention of Chaldea, so that tells you that it was more than likely a significant time after the initial, Chaldean occupation, so it was, probably under Nebuchadnezzar too. So it was definitely already towards the, I'd say towards the end of the exile period.
Yeah, that would make sense.
All right, let's continue. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan. Not the food Carmel, the place Carmel. And his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead in those days and in that time, saith the Lord.
And these areas, by the way, are famous for lush pasture.
Oh. And thank you, Paris 0650.
Wow, amazing.
Once again, for your donation. That is going towards our 666 drive. Wow.
Kind of crazy, man, but thank you so much.
Wow, we're definitely
Are we
going
to have to do this?
Yeah, we're going to have to do it eventually.
This week?
We'll get the thetan meter eventually. Definitely.
I mean, with the money you have there, we might just go get it today. Why not? Let's go shopping.
Well, we got to hit 666.
Yeah. So Landon wants to know, where are we on the 666 goal?
Oh yeah. We answered that earlier. We'd have to add it up, but now it's different.
Yeah. So we are definitely
$360 is my guess.
Yeah.
That is my
roughly
current.
360.
We've got one Xbox 360.
Yeah, we're not quite at 400, but I think we're over 350.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 350.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyways, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I reserve. Go up against the land of Merathim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod. Waste and utterly destroy after them, saith the Lord, and do according to all that I have commanded thee.
So Merathim and Pekod are Babylonian names representing Babylon. They are names with which Jeremiah can offer wordplay. So Merathim would mean double rebellion in Hebrew, derived from the root for be rebellious. Pekod would mean punishment, but Merathim is evidently a reference to Nar Maratu, bitter river, either the Persian Gulf or a lagoon area near the mouth of the Tigris and Euphrates, or perhaps both. Pekod refers to Pukudu, one of the Aramean tribes in southeastern Babylonia. There is no obvious answer to the question of why a word I can't read should be okay, so why Merathim should be dual. Yeah.
Right. It could refer to the Matmarati, the land of the salt marshes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the commentary there, but they're referring to Babylon.
And no, the Old Testament was not written after the New Testament. It's in the name.
I mean, I guess at the New Testament as we know it.
I mean, there have been plenty of,
rewrites.
Yeah, well, I not necessarily rewrites, but plenty of edits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But considering the fact that we have manuscripts of the Old Testament that are older than the New Testament, I wouldn't say that's very likely.
Probably not.
Yeah.
A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, literally doing what he wanted to do.
Exactly what he asked for.
The Lord hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them! For their day is come, the time of their visitation, the voice of them that flee and escape of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord our God, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it, round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done. Do unto her, for she hath been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. Literally genocide.
And it's something that, he was, God wanted them to do that. So, I don't know, man.
I'm also interested in this. They reference the armory of the Lord.
Yeah, armory of God.
Oh, sure. Sorry, what verse is that? Just so I can quickly do this.
The armory is in verse 25.
Verse 25.
Holy beings need armor in case they get hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he has a sword
and weapons. Well, I mean, I mean, metaphorically, he has a sword, right? So is this metaphorical
a
armor?
sword and armor and a shield before, but it's not like...
Yeah, so Yahweh has a storehouse for rain, hail, or snow. This is the only occurrence of the word in the Hebrew scriptures for Yahweh's storehouse of weapons, though it occurs in Sirach 39:30. Yahweh has the work of battle to do with the Babylonians, which he kind of, told them to go off and do. But still, whatever. That's
if you look at all the like the swords and the weapons is just like phallic imagery, then it starts looking like he's just preparing for an orgy.
Aren't we all?
That's Dionysus.
Aren't we all a little bit of Dionysus?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, either, I don't know. I'm
just like stuttering.
Plead the fifth on that.
Therefore, shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord. Behold.
Behold!
Behold.
I am against thee. O thou most proud, saith the Lord God of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Ooh, let my people go. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And
hold on, just one thing. A sword against the mixed race in her midst.
Well, there's
just to be a little more clear on that.
There's a great line that I'm about to read.
Okay.
And they shall become as woman.
Oh, I'm guessing this is they're gonna cut off their dicks kind of thing. I'm guessing maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Well,
let's see what the commentary has to say.
Yeah, I mean, back in previous books, there was the collection of foreskins from dead Philistines.
It's what they would it's the way that they would talk about their enemies in battle. They would refer to them as women. It's just demoralizing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. So so we still kind of do that shit today.
Yeah.
Right. And when it, like the how in your translation it says like mixed races, it means like, not like people of mixed races, but a mixed people, like different races, because it was
that's what I'm saying. People who are mixed race.
No.
Multiculturalism.
I suck at this.
All words, they're just so difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So continuing with this.
Yeah, mixed races of people, but not mixed races of people. Yeah.
Well, of course.
A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. So that's a bunch of sword imagery. And now
there's chain snatched.
Now we go into different plagues. Literal plagues.
I love plagues.
Yeah. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For this is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein. And it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation.
This sounds a lot like that, what is it, Isaiah 34, I think?
Well, so this is actually a doublet from in chapter 6 when it's talking about Judah. It's the exact same thing, except it's Judah, not Babylon.
I see.
Wow. Well, that's
okay.
Change his mind there.
So here's some very interesting translation notes. So yours for how read the start of verse 39 again.
Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there.
Okay, so Alter has it, therefore wildcats and hyenas shall dwell there. Then he goes on to say, and ostriches shall dwell within her. So good amount of stuff to talk about here on different translations. So Holiday notes that in these verses, it is uncertain whether the nouns translated and he actually translates them as goblins and ghouls.
Goblins and ghouls.
Yes, that's how Holiday translates them. Refer to wild animals, like in the version that Alter has, or demons. The rendering here that is of bright. One thing is certain.
Which in Babylonian, in the Mesopotamian culture, that is how you would translate the wild animals. We're seen as agents of demons or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of touched that a little bit in my in the Lilith video.
You guys ever seen a hyena?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's a really, really good video on Lilith.
Ah, thank you. Look at that.
Yeah.
Vlogged.
You should reference it in your dissertation.
If it had anything to do with Lilith, I would.
All right, continue on with the
dubs Lilith.
One thing is certain that the words are chosen for their rhyme. One notes the altogether different denotation of the same words in Psalm 72, for example. Cornell and Rudolph, for following him, translates following Bright, I'm guessing. Translates the words in the present passage, fuchs and lux, so fox and lynx. Both are evidently adjectival forms. The first refers to the one who probably lives in the the desert, I suppose.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's in Hebrew, but I'm just guessing. The land of arid wastes. Yeah, the second evidently refers to the one who lives in the coastlands and islands, thus the far reaches. So that is interesting, I think.
Cool.
Chosen for their rhyme.
Well, we're almost at the end of this chapter. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and their neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took avail of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Behold!
Behold.
He shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan into the habitation of the strong, but I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? Who is like me? And Who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before thee? Therefore,
you must not know about me. You must not know about me.
Yeah. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. That's the end of chapter 50. If you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, Babylonians, all the nations.
Yeah, you got Assyrians too. They're in there. Edomites, any possible
Judites,
Elamites.
Elamites. Want to hit those guys up. They definitely want to hear about this. I suppose that is certainly a thing that they want. Here's some commentaries for you.
Oh,
yeah, take the ones you need, and of course, because he includes 51 as part of the section, it's in there, not by itself.
All right.
And then we can go off to me, I suppose.
Yes.
Crazy, you're crazy.
And is this the longest chapter in Jeremiah?
It doesn't.
It has
Actually, hold on, it might be
64 verses.
long.
It's pretty long. It's quite long. All right.
Well, I'll only interrupt you when something interesting comes up,
Oh, great. Okay.
so we don't have to spend 2 hours on this chapter.
Okay. All right. So, chapter 51. Thus says the Lord, Behold!
Behold.
Behold.
Wait, what were you saying, Jim?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
I see how it is. Okay. I will stir up the spirit of a destroyer against Babylon, against the inhabitants of Leb-Kamai.
Yes, so Leb-Kamai, this ostensible name, is actually a cipher for Chaldea, based on the simple system of substituting the last letter of the alphabet for the first, the second to last letter for the second, and so forth. The same cipher is... Yeah, so it's like instead of A, you write Z. Instead of B, you write Y. Right?
Right.
The
So
same...
that'd give you, it'd give you Kasdim.
The same cipher is manifested in verse 41, where Shishak stands in for Babylon. No one has satisfactorily explained why
That's a good question. Why?
ciphers should be used in a text that, after all, constantly refers to Babylonia and Chaldea by their actual names.
Yeah, right? Now we're secretive.
Unless this was earlier or later, I don't know. Like, aside from being written at a different time for a different reason, I don't know.
Right.
That'd probably be my best guess.
It's for variety, you guys. Gosh.
Oh, yeah. Could just be the author was, like, sick of saying Babylon.
Right?
and Chaldea.
Yeah, I'm going to make up a new thing.
Well, I mean, 51 is an entirely different text from the last few verses in 49 and the rest of 50. But it's so I mean, it like you said, it's possible it was written at a time where they were in danger of having texts that looked on them badly, or put their culture in a bad light.
Yeah.
All right.
And I will send to Babylonian winnowers, and now again Babylon. So, like, why even bother? But and I will send to Babylonian winnowers, and they shall winnow her, and they shall empty her land when they come against her from every side on the day of trouble. Let not the archer bend his bow, and let him not stand up in his armor. Spare not her young men, devote to destruction all her army.
So the Masoretic text has a puzzling vocalization on the initial word in these clauses, L, too. But many Hebrew manuscripts and several ancient versions show all, let not. The idea is that the resistance on the part of the Babylonians is futile.
Of course it is. They're going up against God himself.
But furthermore, Holiday says the interpretation of the verse is difficult. If the occurrence of all or el in each of the first two cola are to be read as jussive negatives, then the bowman represents the Babylonian army. If there are no negatives, then the bowman represents the enemy of Babylon. One can argue either way. In favor of the latter alternative, that bowman is the enemy of Babylon, one may assume that if the cola of the verse are addressed to the enemy, so certainly the last two cola, then the verbs of the verse express actions under the control, so to speak, of the enemy of Babylon. On the other hand, one could see two jussive negatives in the first cola completed by a third jussive negative in the third colon, and one must reckon with the connotation of the verb eat all, which occurs only here in the New Testament, the Old Testament, rather. It surely must mean raise oneself up or try to raise oneself up. But in that case is a curious verb here. Why not use lavosh, put on a coat of mail, as in 46:4? So, yeah, some linguistic troubles with this verse.
Yeah, I mean, however you look at it, however you look at the one receiving the plague, I guess. It's still clear that Babylon's the one that's being destroyed.
Yeah, definitely. They shall fall down slain in the land of the Chaldeans and wounded in her streets. For Israel and Judah have not been forsaken by their God, the Lord of hosts, but the land of the Chaldeans is full of guilt against the Holy One of Israel. Dude, he literally wanted this earlier.
Literally, yes.
Whoops.
Also, Alter translates it as Israel and Judah are not widowed.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense with the whole, what was that psalm where they get married?
No, that's Song of Songs.
No. That would be a later interpretation.
I don't know the specific psalm.
There is a specific psalm though where God was marrying Israel or something.
Israel is the bride and God the husband, as in Jeremiah's opening prophecy in chapter 1.
Also that, but I'm thinking of a specific psalm.
I know what you're talking about. It's the one that's referenced that John references for they're talking about the bridegroom.
Yeah, I think so. It's a specific psalm, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Someone can probably just Google it and find it. Either way, flee from the midst of Babylon. Let everyone save his life. Be not.
Psalm 45.
What?
Psalm 45.
Psalm 45.
45. Thank you. Did you Google it?
Yeah.
All right. So flee from the midst of Babylon. Let everyone save his life. Be not cut off in her punishment, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, the repayment he is rendering her. Babylon was a golden cup in the Lord's hand, making all the earth drunken. The nations drank of her wine. Therefore, the nations went mad. This is sharing a lot of imagery, not surprisingly, with Revelation. I think.
The golden cup is one about the wealth of Babylon, but Alter comments that the contents of the golden cup are evidently terrifying. Babylonia has delivered a cup of the wine of destruction to the nations, driving them into a frenzy.
So it's like toxic and radioactive, and it's got all the terrifying things in it.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't want to drink out of it, okay?
Does it say that there's something terrifying in there?
From her cup the nations drank, and so the nations maddened.
Yeah, but that would be like, I thought it would be more of like a going astray kind of thing. Like because of all this, all this wealth, this prosperity, they have been like corrupted. They have been led astray from, the true ways, I suppose. So I would think that would be the reference there.
Maybe.
So that, I don't know. That's just me. Anyways, suddenly Babylon has fallen and been broken. Wail for her. Take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she was not healed. Forsake her and let us go each to his own country. Her judgment has reached up to heaven and has been lifted up even to the skies. So this is some heavenly judgment here.
Yeah.
The Lord has brought about our vindication. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Now this section is it's one verse and it's broken off from the rest of it. Sharpen the arrows, take up the shields. It looks like that one. I don't know if there's commentary on verse 11, but just the way it's split up in here, it looks like the start of like a new section.
Mm-hmm. The meaning of shalatim, here quivers, has been uncertain. Beyond the present passage, the word occurs 6 times in the Old Testament. They list them, but I'm not going to get into it. In the present passage, Greek renders some Greek term.
I got this. All right. So that's 11. The Greek passage renders pharetras. Oh, yeah. So that's pretty much exactly what the Latin has also, pharetras.
Yeah, because they both come from a common linguistic root.
Right.
Thus quivers. And this is the rendering of Greek and Vulgate for Ezekiel 27:11. So the translations, so they're quivers, okay, basically.
Yeah, but this is a new part of this is a new text. Yeah, this is when they I believe it is the first mention in Jeremiah on Cyrus attacking Babylon in 539.
Glad Cyrus got here.
For the Medes, see 25 through 26. The Median Empire loomed large until the middle of the 6th century when it was incorporated into the Persian Empire under Cyrus. The anticipated Median attack on Babylon therefore never materialized.
All right. The Lord has stirred up the spirits of the kings of the Medes because his purpose concerning Babylon is to destroy it. For that is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Set up a standard against the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord has both planned and done what he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. And concerning the inhabitants of Judah as well, because he sent the Babylonians. We're just going to pass over that one. Oh, you who dwell by many waters, rich in treasures.
So this is a reference to the Euphrates?
Yeah, reference to Euphrates, Tigris, probably the
It also
Persian
had
Gulf.
canals and smaller streams, as well as an artificial lake. So there you go.
Good for them.
A lot smarter than the Israelites.
Well, hey,
artificial lakes.
They all,
that's where he always fought his battles. Like the battle in Opus was like Lawrence was saying, on the Tigris River.
Are you referencing Cyrus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, also in the Bible, they have battles near rivers pretty frequently. Like I remember, right after we finished Deuteronomy, which book was that?
Joshua.
Yeah, Joshua. They fight when they're in Jordan. They
Right. Now, how much of that is circumstantial to the cities being, usually pretty close locations to where battles were fought? I don't know, but
yeah, and also because you would think that you would want to build cities next to water sources, and the first cities a invading nation want to take would be the ones next to water sources. So
right, naturally.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, oh, you who dwell by many waters, rich in treasure, your end has come. The thread of your life is cut. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, surely I will fill you with men, as many as locusts, and they shall raise the shout of victory over you. It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding stretched out the heavens. Ooh, how many times has that been used?
74.
No, stretching out the heavens. How many times is it used by apologists?
8.
Hey, it's a top 40 hit, man. As long as it's winning, don't change it.
When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens, and he makes the mist rise from the ends of the earth.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind the waters that are up there, which were used in the flood.
Yeah.
Did he just basically say that his voice makes everybody wet?
Yeah. We can go with that. Why not?
That's a good interpretation. He makes lightning for the rain, and he brings forth the wind from his storehouses. There it is again.
Mm-hmm.
Every man is stupid and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols, for his images are false, and there is no breath in them.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're back onto the whole polemics against idolatry kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, they are worthless, a work of delusion. At the time of their punishment, they shall perish. Not like these is who is the portion of Jacob, for he is the one who formed all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. So the Lord of hosts is his name.
Yeah, Jacob's portion is an ad hoc epithet for God, stressing his intimate connection with Israel.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
You are my hammer and my weapon of war. I would much rather read that as you are my hammer and sickle, but that's just me.
So the term actually used is for a mace, not a hammer.
Like a war club.
Yeah, and the noun mapates, I think it's mapates. It means mace.
Yeah.
It occurs only in verse 20 in the Old Testament.
I didn't know that.
Though the noun is probably to be restored in Proverbs 25:18.
Hmm.
All right. So we got a mace. That's pretty cool. So you are my mace and weapon of war. With you I break nations in pieces. With you I destroy kingdoms. With you I break in pieces the horse and his rider. With you I break in pieces the chariot and the charioteer.
So these phrases are reminiscent of the Song of the Sea, Exodus 15, in which Pharaoh's horses and riders are destroyed by God.
Right.
With
that we
you,
totally have archaeological evidence for.
which what?
Tons of
We
evidence.
totally have archaeological evidence.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. Didn't we find a wheel?
Yeah, I found a chariot wheel.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's pictures of it if you don't believe me.
Undeniable proof of God's
You
existence.
uneducated scum.
With you I break in pieces man and woman. With you I break in pieces the old man and the youth. With you I break in pieces the young man and the young woman. With you I break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I break in pieces the farmer and his team. With you I break in pieces governors and commanders. So from the greatest to the lowest, the best to the worst, absolutely everybody is going to be broken. That's
We're
what we're
about to break.
War crimes.
Yes.
He could just said like everything and everybody, but he knows like how fond people are of asking questions like, but what about?
Yeah. He remembers that whole Abraham shtick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, no, I mean everybody, okay?
Don't want to have
and their dog.
Don't want to have that happen again. Get hustled out of murdering more people. All right. I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea before your very eyes for all the evil that they have done in Zion, declares the Lord. Behold!
Behold.
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 I am against you, O destroying mountain, declares the Lord. Was that a title?
Finish the verse. There's extensive commentary.
Okay.
Verse.
Oh, destroying mountain, declares the Lord, which destroys the whole earth. I will stretch out my hand against you and roll you down from the crags and make you a burnt mountain.
So, though the image of an inert mountain as an agent of destruction may seem a little strange, the mountain is meant to invoke the massive solidity and towering stature of the Babylonian Empire. The burnt-out mountain seems to imply that the destroying mountain was a volcano, now extinct. However,
wait, hold on. What was the name of the mountain range that was in like the middle of? Was it the Zagros? The Zagros Mountains?
Yeah, I believe so. But I mean, when you read on though, it talks about no stone should be taken from you for a corner. So no stone for a foundation be a perpetual waste. So it's saying that no longer will you be able to build on this. So a burned out mountain for them was something that was no longer an inhabitable place. You couldn't build a house there because it was on either like igneous rock or on uneven ground, or you couldn't grow on it, the perpetual waste. So just basically saying that I'll make you uninhabitable, like the equivalent of them saying like salting the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to read this commentary bit by Holiday, and I'll do it as quickly as I can because it's quite long.
Please don't do it too quickly where we can't understand a word you're saying.
This verse offers
than me doing it.
This verse offers severe difficulty in interpretation. The text of Masoretic reads, "Behold, I am against you, O mountain of the destroyer, or of destruction, oracle of Yahweh, the one destroying the whole earth. I will stretch out my hand against you and roll you down from the rocks and make you a mountain of burning." Greek omits oracle of Yahweh and reads the ruined mountain, reads on the rocks instead of from the rocks, and interprets mountains of burning as burned mountain. The other versions offer no significant variations from the Masoretic. The verse makes a kind of sense. Clearly, Yahweh will destroy Babylon, depicted here in various metaphorical ways. But what really doesn't mean to roll a mountain down from the rocks? What is a mountain of burning? Commentators have long thought of a volcano, which is a mountain of burning, and sends portions of itself down from the top. But Doom rightly doubts a reference to a volcano here. Certainly, volcanism is not a characteristic of Mesopotamia.
I mean, I also doubt the reference to a volcano, but
and the interpretations of this verse are not really internally coherent. One has the impression that something specific is being said about this verse which has passed us by. Rudolph is correct to bracket the one destroying the whole earth. The phrase adds nothing to the context and appears to be a clarifying gloss to explain preceding words. His further brackets from the rocks as a nonsensical addition, since one cannot roll a mountain from the rocks. Thus far, I believe he is correct, but he explains another term as a denomination of Gil, heap of stones. Thus, I shall make you a heap of stones, an interpretation I believe to be wrong. One recent theory is that Mount of the Destroyer refers to the mountain of the god Nergal, known in Palestine as Moloch or Chemosh, and perhaps worshipped on the Mountain of Olives. It would then be appropriate to call Babylon Mount of Nergal, with the implication that she herself will be destroyed. But I propose another solution. There are two clues from parallel passages. The first is the occurrence of Sharefa, burning in Genesis 11:3 in the narrative of the Tower of Babel, where the word means burnt bricks. Jeremiah here appears to make a reference to that narrative and the tower made of burnt bricks. The second clue is the fact that in 2 Kings 23:13.
Wait, hold on. Was that the verse where, because I think I was actually just about to bring this up in 2 Kings, where they're destroying everything, that they pretty much say that it was made uninhabitable, right?
Yeah, they burn everything, salt the earth.
They say here, Hamash Heat Har likewise appears. There it's a reference to the Mount of Olives. In the Mishnah, the Mount of Olives is called Har Hamishcha, literally Mount of Anointing, that is Mount of Oil. In Zechariah 14:4, the Mount of Olives is called Har Hazaitim. Commentators thus note that the phrase in 2 Kings 23:13 is deformed into Mount of the Destroyer. Montgomery suggests that the deformation was made in 2 Kings 23:13 to conform to the words of Jeremiah 7:32 that the Valley of Kidron would be called the Valley of Slaughter. But the matter is probably more complicated than that. After all, it was the valley below the Mount of Olives that was the locality of forbidden practices, not the mount itself. One might propose that Hamash Heat is originally in the present passage and subsequently modified in 2 Kings 23:13 under the influence of the present passage. After all, Babylon is indeed a destroyer, as the bracketed phrase affirms. But then, why does Hamash Heat carry the article? If in the metaphor Babylon is in the mountain, the article is unnecessary. This line of thinking suggests then that as a matter of fact, the phrase in the present passage has something to do with the deformation of Mount of Olives. With regards to the Mount of Olives, one might hazard the guess that the Babylonian army in besieging Jerusalem at the second time cut down the olive trees. After all, they built siege works against Jerusalem round about 2 Kings 25:1. Josephus, in recounting the siege of Jerusalem by Titus in the year 70, describes how the Roman army leveled the hedges and cut down all the fruit trees nearer to the city than Scopus, and again describes the desolation of the city afterward when all the trees of the suburbs had been cut down. It is altogether likely, therefore, that the cynical joke was passed around in Jerusalem that the Mount of Olives was now Har Hamishcha no more, but Har Hamash Heat, Mount of Destruction, and the joke stuck. But
so if I said har, that
yes, but there's more. But one may hazard a further guess that during the first siege, some Babylonian officer had looked at the Mount of Oil opposite Jerusalem and had mocked it, saying, "That's no Mount of Oil. That's a perfectly ordinary mountain with a few olive trees on it. Now in Babylon, I could show you a real Mount of Oil, heaps and heaps of sesame seeds." And in that word had reached the ears of Jeremiah. Jeremiah perceived Yahweh to be judging Babylon for her haughtiness and insolence. The earlier formula of the encounter, 50:31, says so. Thus, I propose that a boast about the Babylonian sesame crop lay at the basis of the present formula of encounter. The sesame crop was a source of oil in Mesopotamia at every period. In 2 letters of Hammurabi to Sinidinam, a royal official in Larsa, there are references to sesame seeds and transactions. And after Jeremiah's time, Herodotus states the Babylonians use no oil except what they make from sesame. In the Talmud, the judgment is recorded of Tarfon that one shall light the Sabbath lamp with only olive oil, to which our Johanan B. Nurhi says, "What shall the Babylonians," that is the Jews in Babylonian, say then do who only have sesame oil? This suggestion may gain plausibility under an understanding of the verb vigil gal techa. This verb is likely to be a denominative form of Gilgal, or Galgal, wheel, or Gilgal, Isaiah 28:28. The production of olive oil was done in 2 stages. The olives were first crushed and then the pulp was pressed. An installation for olive oil production dating to the 7th century BC has recently been excavated at Tel Mikna. Atlas of Israel shows it. There the olives.
I'm learning so much about olives.
I'm sure you are. There the olives.
I could go for some olives.
There the olives were first crushed in a basin, evidently with a roller. Then the pulp, stacked in baskets, was pressed under a heavy beam weighted like a lever. In an olive oil installation found at Tirat Yehuda from the 2nd century BCE, the olives were crushed by an actual crushing wheel. It goes on to talk a lot about olives.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you a lot more about that.
So, in any case,
basically all you need to know is that olives grew on mountains and that they tried to get rid of them. That's all you need to know, really.
And that the phrase may have come from like a joke about it or something.
It may have come from a joke.
Right. But I think that's a really big reach.
Yeah, but also the other explanation there was like, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Right.
That's not an olive mountain. This is an olive mountain.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and that, who's to say that they, they didn't know of these destroying mountains of fire, or they might have been referring to like a city that Babylon invaded on that was in the mountains or in the hill country that they burned to the ground. There's a lot of different ways that you can interpret it, but basically just made it uninhabitable.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a lot. You can continue now.
Great. I forgot what verse I was on.
You just finished verse 25.
25. I see that now. Okay.
And you only have like 30 more to go.
Yep. No stone shall be taken from you for a corner, and no stone for a foundation, but you shall be a perpetual waste, declares the Lord. Set up a standard on the earth. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations for war against her. Summon against her the kingdoms, Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz.
So Ararat is the Assyrian Urartu.
And I am pretty sure that a lot of people like to claim that the Ark was found on... Well, that's where they landed, right? Mount Ararat?
Yeah.
Right? But then a lot of people were claiming... Well, a lot of people claim to find the Ark in a whole lot of places.
Yeah, they
but,
do. The Mini are the Manaeans, Assyrian Manae.
Okay.
Ashkenaz is to be identified with the Assyrian Asguze or Iskuze, applied to the people later known as the Scythians.
Okay. That is interesting. Any relation there to Ashkenazi? That's a genuine question. I have no idea.
It's not in here.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, it's just Ashkenaz. I mean,
they just sound they just very close. Okay.
Alter says Ashkenaz would later be taken up as a designation for the lands where the Jews settled along the Rhine, although that, of course, is not its biblical meaning.
Okay. Interesting. Appoint a marshal against her. Bring up horses like bristling locusts. So a lot of them. Prepare the nations for war against her. The kings of the Medes, with their governors and deputies, and every land under their dominion. The land trembles and writhes in pain, for the Lord's purposes against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The warriors of Babylon have ceased fighting. They remain in their strongholds. Their strength has failed. They have become women. Her dwellings are on fire. Her bars are broken. One runner runs to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to tell the king of Babylon that his city is taken on every side. The fords have been seized. Yeah, right. The fords have been seized, the marshes are burned with fire, and the soldiers are in panic.
So there were marshes along the Euphrates with bushes growing that could be set on fire.
Mm-hmm.
For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor at the time when it is trodden. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest will come.
Wait, your translation says daughter of Babylon?
Yes.
Not daughter Babylon?
Nope, the daughter of Babylon.
Interesting. Okay.
Altar also says the daughter of Babylonia.
But my translation says daughter Babylon. Which, I mean, there's not like a whole bunch of difference, but I mean, there's some nuances there to play with.
Yeah, definitely. I just read that part. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me like a monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies.
So the monster is a sea monster. This is an allusion to the fearsome sea monster Tenin of Canaanite mythology.
Mm-hmm.
He has rinsed me out. The violence done to me and to my kinsmen be upon Babylon. Let the inhabitant of Zion say, my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea. Let Jerusalem say, therefore, thus says the Lord, behold!
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 I will plead your cause and take vengeance for you. I will dry up her sea and make her fountain dry. Of course, that's to parallel the stuff from before.
There's, of course, no actual sea in Babylonia, but the reference may be to its artificial lake.
And Babylon shall become a heap of ruins, the haunt of jackals, a horror and a hissing, without inhabitants. So we've seen that a whole lot.
The dragons.
Whole hissing, kind of like a sneering kind of thing. And yes, Alice, the link, the website's just down.
Yeah. By the way, the sea, symbolized as the monster in verse 34, represents chaos. There's an irony in that, whereas the Babylonian myth Bel is the conqueror of the chaotic waters, here it's Yahweh who is the ultimate conqueror over those waters. Compare Revelations 21:1, and the sea was no more. Again, though her source may refer to the source of the Euphrates, the phrase here paralleling her sea doubtless refers to the source of Babylonia's vigor, or indeed to a mythic fountain. But there will be more irony in verse 42.
I love mythic fountains.
I love irony.
They shall roar together like lions. They shall growl like lion cubs. While they are inflamed, I will prepare them a feast and make them drunk that they may become merry.
So
then
in their heat.
In their heat. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're inflamed.
Gotcha. So he's going to get them drunk, that they become merry, then sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, declares the Lord. They're going to drink themselves to death.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, they're gonna do the deed until they go to sleep.
Yeah.
Forever.
Party like it's 199.
BCE.
Party like it's 285 BC.
Yeah.
Love it.
Woo!
Yeah. This wine sucks.
I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams and male goats.
Man.
Are you saying hi to your goat, Jim?
Oh, I was just adding it for added.
Oh no, I thought that
dimension.
I thought that like your goat ran up to you and was saying hello.
Oh no, he knows better than to bother me while I'm doing this.
Okay, that's a good goat. How Babylon is taken, the praise of the whole earth seized.
Oh wow,
man, I'm doing a lot of shouting there. How Babylon has become a horror among the nations. The sea has come up on Babylon. She is covered with its tumultuous waves. Her cities have become a horror, a land of drought and a desert, a land in which no one dwells, and through which no son of man passes. That means no human. Although it's interesting that
Altar outright says no human.
Oh, okay. That's good. Although it is kind of interesting that I don't know what the Hebrew is for when it says human in other places and when it says son of man in other places. But if this translation is being consistent, I don't think that they've used. I think they've said "son of man" before, right? But I don't think they've also said "human."
There's no commentary in any of these on it.
Damn.
I don't think it's Adam, because otherwise you wouldn't translate it
or
as
Ben
son
Adam.
of man.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. And I will punish Bel in Babylon and take out of his mouth what he has swallowed. The nations shall no longer flow to him. The wall of Babylon has fallen. Go out of the midst of her, my people. Let everyone save his life from the fierce anger of the Lord. Let not your heart faint, and be not fearful at the report heard in the land. When a report comes in 1 year, and afterward a report in another year, and violence is in the land, and ruler is against ruler.
So the repetitive structure conveys a sense of panicked upheaval. Babylonia is convulsed. Ruler strives against ruler. Rumors of disaster abound.
So all these reports are just like...
They're rumors.
Okay,
Yeah.
just rumors.
Hearsay.
All right. Gotcha. Love some hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, behold!
Behold.
Did you behold, Jim? Is he muted? Did you mute yourself?
Oh man, behold, I did it, but you didn't hear me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
He is unmuted now, and he has beholded.
Yes.
I'm beheld.
Good. Thank you. The days are coming when I will punish the images of Babylon. Her whole land shall be put to shame, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heavens and the earth and all that is in them shall sing for joy over Babylon. For the destroyers shall come against them out of the north, declares the Lord. Babylon must fall for the slain of Israel, just as for Babylon have fallen the slain of all the earth. So that again being a reference to the Persians, right?
Mm. Yep.
Babylon's going to get taken over. Cyrus is going to come in and he's going to fuck their shit up.
Yep.
All right.
He does.
He most certainly does. You who have escaped from the sword, go, do not stand still. Remember the Lord from far away, and let Jerusalem come into your mind.
Run, Forrest.
Yeah.
We are put to shame, for we have heard reproach. Dishonor has covered our face, for foreigners have come into the holy places of the Lord's house. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Right, and these are bad foreigners. These aren't just your regular Garim. These are the Zari.
Ah,
So they're worse.
The worst
people
kind.
Can't be trusted.
Yeah.
What's that?
worst kind of foreigner.
Where's what?
What? I said the worst kind of foreigner.
Oh yeah, the worst kind of foreigner. Exactly.
And they're going into the holy places. This is horrible. Therefore, behold,
Behold.
Behold.
the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will execute judgment upon her images and through all her land. The wounded shall groan, though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify her strong height, yet destroyers would come from me against her, declares the Lord. So now not only has the Lord initially sent Babylon, he also sent the destroyers of Babylon. This is very ad hoc. All right. Well, I guess one of them isn't ad hoc, but still, it's all. Yeah, God's doing all this stuff. So a voice, a cry from Babylon, the noise of great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. For the Lord is laying Babylon waste and stilling her mighty voice. Their waves roar like many waters. The noise of their voice is raised, for a destroyer has come upon her, upon Babylon. Her warriors are taken. Their bows are broken in pieces. For the Lord is a God of recompense. He will surely repay. I will make drunk her officials and her wise men, her governors, her commanders, and her warriors. They shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, declares the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. So, once again, seeing some of the... we get the whole drunken thing. We get the perpetual sleep. We get... and the whole, okay, we have I don't even know what it's called, this comparison, right? Or this, yeah, I guess it would be closer to a comparison. Or maybe a contrast, I don't know. But it's, because they have, these two different things where they're really trying to just say everybody, but all that stuff kind of comes back in these 4 sentences here, in this one verse.
Yeah. It's like Thanatos and Hypnos.
Oh. Thanatos and what?
Hypnos.
Hypnos?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Hypnos.
Yeah, just a literary device.
Yeah. Sleep is the cousin of death, right?
I suppose. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the broad wall of Babylon shall be leveled to the ground, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. The people labor for nothing, and the nations weary themselves only for fire. Oh, boy.
Yeah, the formulation's a little odd, but the context makes its meaning clear. People will exhaust themselves trying to save Babylonia, but the fires they try to put out will be too much.
Ah, gotcha. Mm-hmm. The word that Jeremiah the prophet commanded Sariah the son of Neriah, son of Messiah, when he went with Zedekiah, king of Judah, to Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. Sariah was the quartermaster.
So Sariah, son of Neriah, the patronymic tells us that he's the brother of Jeremiah's loyal secretary, Baruch.
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
It's really easy for rappers to write diss tracks back in the day.
Yeah.
Speaking of, someone still needs to write a Lawrence diss track.
Yeah, somebody.
Someone should do it.
A Lawrence diss track?
Yeah, you gotta diss me.
There's nothing to diss except that he likes pirates.
What? I got plenty to diss. I'm a horrible person.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Continuing on here. Jeremiah wrote in a book all the disaster that should come upon Babylon. All these words that are written concerning Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Sariah, when you come to Babylon, see that you read all these words and say, O Lord, you have said concerning this place that you will cut it off so that nothing shall dwell in it, neither man nor beast, and it shall be desolate forever. When you go ahead.
He has to send Sariah because he's in Egypt. Jeremiah is. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say that this last part is my absolute favorite. Like after you've read this whole thing and the last few verses, you're like, what the freak?
All right, well, I guess we'll see how that goes. When you finish reading this book, tie a stone to it and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates and say, thus shall Babylon sink to rise no more because of the disaster that I am bringing upon her, and they shall become exhausted. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah.
So Alter says, you shall tie a stone to it and fling it into the Euphrates. This is the last in the series of symbolic predictive acts that punctuate the book of Jeremiah. In this case, the meaning of the act is crystal clear.
Well, I mean, they do tell you specifically what it means.
Yes.
So it is crystal clear. However, why? First of all, you could have just thrown a rock down there and it would have done the same thing.
But this is magic, though. This is a spell. Like this isn't just a prayer. This is a ritual.
Right, like how he buried the stone in Egypt.
Right. Like. Well, why couldn't we just cut the throat of a rubber chicken? You know.
Did you finish the?
Yeah, that is in fact the end of the chapter.
So thus far, the words of Jeremiah is used. This is a formal indication of the conclusion of Jeremiah's book. The single chapter that follows is not ascribed to him. It's no longer the words of Jeremiah, but instead a narrative report of the fall of Jerusalem, a dire event repeatedly predicted by Jeremiah that replicates with minor variations 2 Kings 24:18 through 25:30. Also, there's a bit in Eerdmans.
Oh, actually, is there? Great.
Quite a bit in Eerdmans that I want to go over. I'll do it as quickly as I can. Evaluation of these two chapters that we read. Yahweh becomes a horror to the world. The Creator wields chaos against his creation, for he discerns roiling in the sea of nations, rebellion against the kingship. No ancient Near Eastern deity equal to the claim could brook such a challenge to its suzerainty. Thus, Yahweh proves adequate to the tyranny inherent in the ancient Near Eastern theistic ontology by launching the genocide of the world. In the flux of nation culture world-making, Yahweh detects the seething heart of chaos. He moves to defeat chaos by chaos. As his royal boasts and self-laudatory creation hymn indicate, Yahwistic suzerainty is the burden of the oracles against the nations. Yahweh's kingship proves the vindication for Yahweh's pitiless savagery, since the created order hangs on it, as does Israel's good. The peace of the world depends on the violent tyranny of Yahweh's imperial desire. The colonization of Israel, her punishment for religious guilt, has become the snare by which Yahweh entraps the nations, subjugates them, and secures his throne. The kingship of Yahweh demands the bloodshed of the world. Theopolitical desires have generated a history of cruelty. The justification of the war lies in the vindication of Yahwistic pride. Yahweh's way with Israel, exile, has become the paradigm for his way with the world, for his sake and Judah's restoration. History withers the nations under Yahwistic wrath. The carnage of human geopolitical cruelty is mythologized as a sacrifice placating Yahwistic rage, restoring Yahwistic honor. The death of the world constitutes the enthronement of Yahweh and the national resurrection of Israel. The symbolic embrace of Yahwistic violence by the vested aspirations of the colonial elite, the implicit performers of the tradition, represents not the supersession of human suffering, but suffering's divination. Apparently, Yahweh can find no solution for the world, even Israel, except through blood and more blood. The implication of Judah's fall and her enduring colonization, that is the failure of Yahweh alone, has been refused and masked over in the oracles against the nations by postulating just such a failure for the pantheon of national deities and their client peoples. For in the fantastic landscape of the oracles against the nations, Yahwistic survivors and dreamers can find symbolic compensation. Faced with a world where the throne of the empire belongs everywhere but in Jerusalem, where the latter's children continue subjugated to the powers, in short, within political cultural realities where exile/dispersion is the preeminent condition, and or where the return fails to live up to its utopian promise, recourse can be had to a world where oracles against the nations, where Marduk, Milcom, and Shamash, and the rest of theistic mockery go down with defeat with their patrons before the onslaught of Yahweh alone. The myth of exile and return can temporize even the failure of Germanic predictions about the absolute demise of Israel's political predators. For exile and the return is the pattern of Yahweh's way with the nations. The latter's national persistence hinges on a future Yahwistic pacification, annexation, and conversion to Yahweh alone. Thus, in its bid to rewrite the myth of Yahweh and Israel by elevating Yahweh alone, the composition has succeeded in refiguring or reappropriating what it so desperately seeks to refuse. Yahweh alone cannot escape his polytheistic ontology. Internalizing the royal psychology and motives of the divine contenders in ancient Near Eastern pantheons, he rises only to the level of victorious tyrant. No doubt a stubborn cultural resistance and restoration quest can be founded on such a myth.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That is in fact brutal.
Yeah. Do you hear something?
I do. Jim, do you hear something?
Yeah, I think I do. What is that?
Oh,
That is a crazy noise. Ooh.
Behold, I am your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I want to let all you heathens and sinners know that I support this wonderful episode of Atheist Sunday School. Lawrence and Reuben try their very best to bring you the true glory of the Bible, and they need your help. They have provided links to their Patreon page and other social media just for you. Once again, my name is Jesus Christ, and this is Milwaukee Atheists. The Lord is with them. God bless.
Oh my God, Jesus! Thank you for joining us. I see you have once again taken Reuben. He's not here, which is kind of bad. Maybe he'll come back with some some revelation, as he does sometimes. So let's see if he comes back here. But anyways, we are hopping into the final chapter of Jeremiah 52. So this chapter, as we discussed before, is not it doesn't really deal with Jeremiah all that much. So this is from Holiday's commentary. This chapter does not deal with Jeremiah the prophet, except for verses 28 through 30. The chapter is a duplication of 2 Kings 24:18 through 25:30, with some pluses and minuses of text. The most prominent being verses 10 through 11, which expand 2 Kings 25:7, and verses 21 through 23, which expand 2 Kings 25:17. Verses 28 through 30 are not duplicated in 2 Kings 25. These verses are a register of the number of persons deported in the 3 successive deportations to Babylon, drawn from a separate source. So we got a whole other source, which is good. I like it when it's when they draw from all these other sources. Like even in a book like the Deuteronomistic history itself, draws from other sources, and it tells you what those sources are. We just don't have them anymore. So,
and you can tell that 51, is the end of it. It says the words of Jeremiah. That's also how it introduces the book of Jeremiah. So it's kind of like that prophetic text that wrapped up the end of it, so that nobody else may add on to it. Which, ironically, they did.
Oh no!
As is tradition. So the
tradition.
The direction of borrowing was from 2 Kings to the present chapter. This direction of borrowing is indicated not only by the pluses in Jeremiah, there would be no reason for 2 Kings to abbreviate Jeremiah, but also by the fact that Isaiah 1 through 39, that's of course first Isaiah, closes in a similar fashion with relevant material borrowed from 2 Kings. It is to be noted that 2 Kings 19 through 20 mentions Isaiah, whereas 2 Kings 24 through 25 does not mention Jeremiah. That is to say, there was immediate relevance to the narrative about the prophet in question in the borrowing of 2 Kings 19 through 20, whereas this is poorly written, whereas it was the simply he added in a whole extra word, where it was simply the pattern of closing a prophetic scroll with narrative from 2 Kings about the historical events of the period that was followed in the present instance. Mm. And that's the introduction to this chapter that I am giving you.
Okay. Yeah, that's composition links Germanic tradition with that of the Deuteronomistic history.
Of course.
In the Septuagint, Jeremiah 52 follows immediately after the salvation oracle offered to Baruch. The Septuagint...
That was way earlier.
Yeah.
Way earlier.
The Septuagint performance of the tradition narrates for the first time the details of the successes of the Babylonian siege, the captures of the city and the king, the investment of structures, and the deportation of the population. The overall effect on the macro structure of the scroll is to retain the focus for the Septuagint upon the destruction of the old Judean state and the fulfillment of the Germanic message of doom. Here, the rescue of the myth of Yahweh from the death of Israel still bears the ideological weight, with the oracles against the nations still occupying their place at the center of the scroll, inserted within the framework of 25, 1 through 14, 15 through 38. The mythological construct of a divine war prosecuted against the world, including Israel, for the sake of Yahweh's imperium, and Israel's restoration is still offered, but no effort is made to dramatize so emphatically progress toward that utopian aim beyond its initiation as doom in the life of the old Davidic community.
All right. And Jim, whenever you're ready, we can get into the readings, and we will occasionally interrupt you.
Yeah.
Okay. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah.
So there is some commentary here already on the name of the mother. So there's no way to determine whether the name of Zedekiah's mother was Hamutal or Hamital. The etymology of the name is likely to be my father-in-law, Hami, that is the divine father of my husband, is shelter. If so, the form with it would be Hamital. That form is probably correct. Her father, Jeremiah, is the third person by that name to be mentioned in the book. All right.
Okay, verse 2. He did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, just as Jehoiakim had done. Indeed, Jerusalem and Judah so angered the Lord that he expelled them from his presence. Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon, and in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, King Nebuchadrezzar of Babylon came with all his army against Jerusalem, and they laid siege to it. They built siege works against it all around. So the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine became so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then a breach was made in the city wall, and all the soldiers fled and went out from the city by night by the way of the gate between the two walls by the king's garden, though the Chaldeans were all around the city. They went in the direction of Arabah. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered, deserting him. Then they captured the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he passed sentence on him. The king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and also killed all the officers of Judah at Riblah. He put out the eyes of Zedekiah and bound him in fetters, and the king of Babylon took him to Babylon and put him in prison until the day of his death. In the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month,
so,
which was the 19th.
I do have a note here. All right. So verse 11 there, a detail not in either 39:7 or 2 Kings 25:7 is the last clause. And he, Nebuchadnezzar, put him, Zedekiah, in the house of, it says house of X, because I guess we're going to talk about that, until the day of his death. So the Masoretic reads house of punishments, a phrase otherwise unattested. The Greek, however, offers the striking reading house of milling, oikian moulonos. that is a place where prisoners are punished by being put to grinding. These
Oh man.
Oh man.
This just means a house where people are, or a place where people are detained. It's not what would usually be used for saying a jail or something like that. But it just basically means a place where you would keep somebody.
Mm-hmm. It is just interesting how far apart the Masoretic and Septuagint versions are.
Yeah, it's almost like they take liberties with the text.
Yeah, almost. Although on that note, there's also the reference in Isaiah 47:2 to take the millstones and grind meal. So I don't know if there's a possible allusion there or allusion to it. Not sure. Yeah, and then we can continue then.
Let's see what we were on in the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar. Oh, did I read this? No, I didn't. Okay. King of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the bodyguard who served the king of Babylon, entered Jerusalem. He burned the house of the Lord, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every great house he burned down. All the army of the Chaldeans who were with the captain of the guard broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried into exile some of the poorest of the people and the rest of the people who were left in the city, and the deserters who had defected to the king of Babylon, together with the rest of the artisans. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left some of the poorest people of the land to be vine dressers and tillers of the soil. The pillars of bronze that were in the house of the Lord, and the stands in bronze sea that were in the houses of the Lord, the Chaldeans broke in pieces and carried all the bronze to Babylon.
Yeah, so if you remember to anyone that's wondering, if you remember all the stuff in 2 Kings where they're describing the temple and how, or I guess just in the Deuteronomistic history in general, how they're describing.
I remember.
Good. Mm-hmm. How they're describing the temple, and then
or if you read Daniel, it talks about it in Daniel as well.
We'll get to Daniel. That'll be a lot of fun.
You better have me on.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can have you on for the first episode of that when we get to it, because then we can talk about the dating of Daniel, and that's always a good subject.
That one and Daniel 9. That's all I want.
You got it. Man, I love apocalyptic stuff.
They took away the pots, the shovels, the snuffers, the basins, the ladles, and all the vessels of bronze used in the temple service. The captain of the guard took away the small bowls also. Not the small bowls.
No. Oh, no.
The fire pans, the basins, the pots, the lampstands, the ladles. They already took the ladles.
Yeah. They're taking them again.
You have more ladles?
Maybe they're really upset about these ladles being taken. They're like, they took the ladles and this and the ladles.
The heathens with their broth.
So
and the bowls for libation, both those of gold and those of silver. As for the 2 pillars, the 1 sea, the 12 bronze bowls that were under the sea, and the stands which King Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the bronze of all these vessels was beyond weighing. As for the pillars, the height of the 1 pillar was 18 cubits. Its circumference was 12 cubits. It was hollow, and its thickness was 4 fingers. Upon it was a capital of bronze. The height of the capital was 5 cubits. Lattice work and pomegranates, all of bronze, encircled the top of the capital. And the 2nd pillar had the same with pomegranates. There were 96 pomegranates on the sides. All the pomegranates encircling the lattice work numbered 100.
So this is just like some weird combination of all the texts that are describing how the temple was made, how everything in it was made. But before we go,
they just want you to see how holy this place was. It was really, really holy.
Yeah, it must have been really, really holy. Before we go on to list more things that were taken and how holy they were, obviously, there is some cool textual commentary on verses 18 and 19. So the list of objects, because all the ladles and stuff. That list of objects at the beginning of Each of the two verses offer an almost insoluble textual problem. Since the Masoretic differs from the Greek in both verses, and the Masoretic and Greek offer two further texts in 2 Kings 25:14. In verse 18, the Masoretic has 5 objects. Pots, shovels, snuffers, blood basins, and ladles. That's how he translates it, blood basins.
That's basically what they were.
Yeah. So the Greek appears to have been damaged, offering 3 objects. A garland, evidently let's see what the word is there. Iamin, evidently a transliteration of shovels, or meat forks. That's the other one. A garland, shovels, and meat forks.
Which we're using Greek in ancient Greek rituals.
2 Kings 25:14. The Masoretic has 4 objects: pots, shovels, snuffers, and ladles. And then the Greek one has a different 4. It has pots, yamin, shovels, meat forks, and ladles. So a little bit different. I propose that there has been confusion among 3 words: blood basins, snuffers, and meat forks.
It's just a textual casualty of Hellenization.
I suppose, yeah. He does go into it quite a bit.
Great.
But I am just going to point out that, textual issue there. Textual issue, let's continue.
Verse 24. The captain of the guard took... What's that?
I was coughing,
Right?
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Verse 24. The captain of the guard took the chief priest, Sariah, the second priest, Zephaniah, and the 3 guardians of the threshold. And from the city he took an officer who had been in command of the soldiers, and 7 men of the king's council who were found in the city, the secretary of the commander of the army who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found inside the city, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. And the king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah went into exile out of its land. This is the number of the people whom Nebuchadnezzar took into exile. In the 7th year, 3,023 Judeans. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he took into exile from Jerusalem 832 persons. And in the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took into exile of the Judeans 745 persons. All the persons were 4,600. In the 37th year.
So that's it's quite a lot of people there. So that was verse 30, I think, right?
Mm.
Yeah, over a 45-year, over a 23-year period.
Yeah, and verse 30.
No, wait.
Verse 30 says the 23rd year?
The first deportation.
Like a 15 or like a 16-year period.
The first deportation was in 598 after the first fall of Jerusalem. The second was in 587 after the second fall, and the third was in 582.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there's no way.
There's not evidence that there were just that there were 3. And we have good evidence of 2.
Right.
One was a failed siege, and the other one was the success, which was likely the one that the Daniel character was taken during.
582 BCE was the year of the assassination of Gedaliah, not mentioned in this chapter, but it was an act of insurrection that provoked an additional deportation of Judahites.
And there's no way to determine whether the totals given for the numbers of deportees are for adult males only, and thus whether accompanying women and children would have swelled the numbers, or whether the totals are for men, women, and children. Because, of course, if we go back to, Torah stuff.
They only cared about the dudes.
Yeah, only cared about the dudes.
All right. Well, it's likely much more, since supposedly, most of the tribes of Israel were supposed to have been dispersed at this time. So where were we?
Verse 31 is where you're at now.
Okay, in the 37th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th day of the month, King Evil-Merodach of Babylon, in the year he began to reign, showed favor to King Jehoiakim of Judah and brought him out of prison. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat above the seats of other kings who were with him in Babylon.
So
Jehoiakim,
where it says showed favor, Alter writes lifted up the head. And says the idiom is borrowed from the Joseph story where it's applied to the release from prison of Pharaoh's vizier. The change of garments in verse 33 recalls Joseph's change of garments after Pharaoh takes him from prison to occupy a high place in the royal court.
The high place? No, I'm kidding. I know it's a different one, but
right, because if you were in the royal court and you weren't worthy enough, you usually kept your head down. You didn't look up to the king or the people in the higher places.
Mm-hmm. And furthermore, on the name, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the show before. I think I remember this coming up, but Evil-Merodach is the Akkadian. Maybe I was just reading about it. I don't know. But it's the Akkadian Amil Marduk, man of Marduk.
Mm-hmm. Amil,
yeah. Yeah. The son and successor of Nebuchadnezzar. He ruled for only 2 years, being succeeded by his brother-in-law, Nergal-Shareser. I don't know. He pardoned Jehoiakim, brought him out of prison, and gave him daily rations and a seat of honor. That's who we're talking about there.
Yes.
Yep. So Jehoiakim put aside his prison clothes, and every day of his life he dined regularly at the king's table. For his allowance, a regularly daily allowance was given him by the king of Babylon as long as he lived up to the day of his death. Man, he could just go and get Whataburger like whenever he wanted.
Yeah. So it says, is this the last verse that you read?
Yep, that's it. Ta-da!
It says, this verse is also the last verse of the Book of Kings. Its editorial inclusion here is an attempt to mitigate the national catastrophe that Jeremiah has repeatedly predicted and then is reported in the chapter. The concluding image intimates a hopeful possibility of future restoration. A Davidic king is recognized as king even in captivity and is given a daily provision appropriate to his royal status. As he sits on the throne elevated above the thrones of other captive kings, the audience of the story is invited to imagine a scion of David again sitting on the throne of Jerusalem.
Well, and not only that, but a release from prison themselves is what they're envisioning. They're putting themselves in Jehoiakim's position, that he's not only released, but he's elevated to a higher position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any more useful commentary on this. If you'd like, I can start reading the bibliography. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we have finished the book of Jeremiah.
Yes.
Gentlemen, final thoughts on Jeremiah.
No small feat.
Yeah.
Big round of applause for us. Go us.
We're so great. Gentlemen, final thoughts on Jeremiah.
It was it had some interesting things to say. It had some weird parts, weird metaphors, weird allegories and stuff like that. I think that Jeremiah was at the start of the book, he was very needy.
Yeah.
And then he became much more angsty.
Jeremiah never really gets his he starts off, he's like completely disrespected by everyone.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's right. And then he continues to be right. And it's just like Baruch and his brother who recognize him as being legitimate.
Right.
And even when they're going to Egypt and they ask Jeremiah to talk to God, even then they don't respect him.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like there's a payoff for Jeremiah.
Well, he gets to be a king in exile. I mean, it's not the best payoff, but he's not dead, and eventually his lineage will continue.
Well, he gets to not die.
Right. So he gets to keep the line going. I mean, that's the greatest.
That doesn't
gift of all.
necessitate that, but
Yeah,
Maybe.
no, it doesn't necessitate it. It's not like, and Jeremiah found this cute Jewish girl and they settled down and had lots of babies. It doesn't say that. As far as we know, Jeremiah dies miserable in exile after living a miserable life.
But you know what? He was helping God.
Yeah, at least Jeremiah actually acknowledged it. You know, he acknowledged that things were miserable, and that I mean he did. Like,
yeah.
you know, he didn't try to like sugarcoat anything, really. I mean,
Yeah. As far as the war stories go,
They're cool.
probably Jeremiah has some of the better war stories.
I suppose.
I mean, it's not really.
It's no judges.
Yeah, it's not down to
I
tactics.
like Kings too. Kings is good. Maccabees, if you're down for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have read that. Yeah.
Well, Maccabees is just war stories.
Yeah, it's actual strategy.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like the polemic and the destructive imagery and everything, it's pretty cool. Definitely not one of the worst books in the Bible.
Definitely
Long,
not.
though.
Yeah, pretty long.
It is long.
Super long. I don't really know. The poetry isn't really. I'm not sure if it translates into English well. Anyway,
Right.
I'd give the book a C+.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of parts of Jeremiah that are beautiful. I especially like chapter 25 and 29. Really great poetry.
Cool.
I mean, if you say so.
It's interesting that they like throw ciphers in.
Yeah, that was weird. That's cipher.
Yeah.
2 of them in a row for things that were commonly referenced. 2 things in a row.
Was it 2? I thought it was just
No,
one
it's
cipher.
just one thing.
I thought 2 things were
No,
ciphers.
it's just one.
No.
thing.
Oh, you're probably thinking of the thing that has like a double meaning.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, it was just the one cipher, which is really weird to throw in a text where you're always talking about Babylon. So
Yeah. Also, the structure of the book, how different it is between manuscript traditions.
right, so the Greek and the Masoretic are so different.
Yeah.
Just completely different orders.
But I mean that's how it is more oftentimes than not when it comes to the Old Testament.
Yes, but I would also say, like, you know, if you look at like Esther or something, for example, there's a lot of, you know, cool textual stuff for Esther. But I would say that this one is just much more blatant.
It's very dramatic, and it's like, and the differences, at least from what we read, make like the flow of the story very different between the two of them. Like, it has 2 different purposes as dramatic presentations.
Yeah, and I think there was the reconstruction from Holiday for, I forget which chapters, but like he has to like move some stuff around, like a whole different chapter into a different place, but only then it really makes sense. Otherwise, go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say, I mean, and you have to think about it, like, even at the time of the Greek reconstruction, Jeremiah is still a very old text, even comparatively to like Ezra. You know, it's something that's a lot older and a lot harder to translate accurately, just because there's still that much more of a cultural separation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And linguistic, of course. But
All right, other than that, I know this has been a long episode, but we did have 3 very long chapters and a lot of commentary. So I hope everyone enjoyed the show today. Hope we entertained you and gave you some good bits of knowledge.
And I hope that you check out our Amazon wish list, where you can buy us books to add to this table or off this table.
Yeah, you could get commentaries, or you could get books that we'll read and then use for sources in different videos. We'll read them, so you don't have to.
Yeah, we also have a Patreon. You can help us out there. We made a decent chunk of change towards that donation goal.
Yeah, we did.
But if you want to help us in a different way, you can check us out on Patreon. Oh. Thank you, Kai Cook Daniels. Wow, that's been a while.
Oh man, okay, haven't seen you in forever. But also, thanks for stopping by and thanks for helping the show, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you kindly. We that goes towards our donation goal, where eventually we'll get a thetan meter and we'll see who the most clear is.
We'll take it apart.
We'll talk all about Scientology. But yeah, Patreon.
Yeah.
You can get a t-shirt giveaway. That's going to start next Sunday. We're going to be doing our usual monthly t-shirt giveaway.
Yeah, yes. And you know what? Now Landon has competition. Now, he had competition before, but it was like a 50-50 split, right?
Yeah.
But now there's more competition. Landon, you may not win.
Yeah. And other things on Patreon, you can be on the show. You can, you
can get our books. You can get video scripts.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of stuff on Patreon.
And if you don't have any money, you can still follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. They're in the description. Next week, we're going to be doing all of Lamentations.
Yeah, all of Lamentations next week. And Landon will be joining us.
Yep, and it should be a fun time. It's been a while since we've been able to do a complete book in one episode.
Yeah, I think the last one was Ruth.
Yeah,
Yep.
I wasn't here that time.
You weren't here that way. That day. The way? What? It's been a long day.
Yahweh. Anyways, Jim, why don't you fill in the people on your current projects and chill your stuff?
I'm not doing anything that anybody would be interested in. I'm just working hard on my dissertation. I'm actually presenting to the Secular Society of MIT on the 6th on Jesus's empty tomb. So if you guys want to check that out, that's on the Secular Society of MIT's YouTube page. Other than that, that's really about all I've got going on. Just a few debates here and there.
Did you recently, or will it be recently? I remember this topic.
Did you recently, or will it be recently?
No, or will it be? Sorry, will it be soon? That I remember seeing in my feed a debate on modern day debates, and I didn't know if it was just scheduled or if it just happened. But it looked really interesting. I don't remember if it was about slavery or about it was about Daniel. It was about Daniel, the dating of Daniel.
Yeah, Dr. Josh and I are actually teaming up on this one.
All right.
And nice. It should be a really awesome debate.
Cool. When's that happening?
Oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting.
You're gonna be late
I do
to
not
it.
know, but if you follow me on Twitter, I will let you know. My Twitter is @thejemmajors.
Great. So follow him on Twitter, everyone.
All right.
He's great. And I mean, first of all, look at his mustache. Mm-hmm. That's a brilliant mustache.
I mean, that's about all I got going for me.
Well, then without further ado, we'll
see you on Friday,
and then
also Sunday.
You can also
We're here a lot.
watch our videos anytime
you want.
week.
It is YouTube.
Anytime.
We'll see you then.
Yesterday.
Later.